Hey crafty babes, it's Andrea. I am really excited to share with you my 2017 planner setup. We are heading into a brand new year, and it's always nice to have a clean slate, maybe even try something new, determine what hasn't worked over the last year, and figure out what we can change. So that's what I've been doing over the last couple of months. I get really I get bored of the same kinds of things, but I know that I'm a creature of habit, and when I am working with the same things and using routines and using schedules and using processes, I tend to just do better. So I drifted away from planning over the last few months, and just because that's just what I needed to not be so focused on pre-planning everything, and I needed to focus more on just some other areas. So I gave that a break for just a little bit, but knowing that I would always come back to it, because I've always been a planner girl. I've always been just a list maker, a binder keeper, kind of just always need that home for certain things. So I have develop just kind of a different flow for what I'd like my planner to be used for. So I'm just going to take you through my setup. So I'm still using the Melon Hello Forever planner from Studio Calico. It is the perfect size. The color is amazing. There's polka dots on the inside. What more do you need out of a planner? I do also have this in gray, and that is being used for a different purpose. And I also do have a Marigold Simple Stories Carpe Diem planner, which currently is just holding my extra inserts, my blank inserts, because I am not the kind of person that can really manage multiple planners. I think 2 is my max. I've tried 3, and I kind of struggled with having things in so many places. So what I did here is I condensed some things, which you'll see, and then I have room to add more to. So here we go. You will definitely see that the Reset Girl plays a heavy part in my planner. I am super in love with just the vintage style, obviously, and the products that she has developed just work for me. So there are several things that come from her Reset Girl line from Simple Stories. So let's just go through a couple of things that I am going to use the most. Now, I've also decided to take a very minimalistic approach this year. I'm not going to be doing a lot of decorating. I will be doing some decorating, some things that still make me feel like inspired. I still need a bit of color. I still need, to feel that craftiness when I am going through this and utilizing this, but I am not decorating my weeks. I'm going more bullet journal. So I'm kind of calling it like a bullet planner, because it's got a lot of qualities and characteristics of a bullet journal, as well as the functions of what you would think you'd find in a planner. So that is what you'll find first. So the very first thing I keep in here is this Reset Girl. It's like a traveler's notebook. It's just a notebook. So in it, I'm going to be using it to write it down. I'm going to be making notes. So I usually have in my possession a graph composition notebook, the school size composition notebook that has graph paper. I prefer grid paper. It works better for me than just regular lined paper, and then blank paper obviously is like super foreign. So I prefer grid. This is a grid paper. So for me, it just helps me line things up and keep things flush and straight. And it just appeals to me a lot more. So I was really glad to be able to find out that hers was grid. But I usually hang on to one of those, and it just kind of keeps my projects in order. So, but it's more like a sketchbook. So here, let me actually show you. So this is what I have been using, and it has where I begin to make notes about things. So this was all about my one little word last year, and kind of I pre-planned all of my my title pages, and then I practice, you know, kind of how I want things to look. A lot of trial and error, lots of different notes about things that just kind of I need to do. So here is how I planned out my buffalo plaid wall. And, you know, it's just I plan things. And so this is kind of just where the initial idea goes. And so I need to be able to have something like this that fits in my planner. And it needs to be able to be with me so that when I have that idea or when I see something I want to do, I can just go run in here, throw it on a page, and then I can transfer it somewhere else. I can always take that idea and then actually make it happen. I can implement it because I have a plan, because I didn't let that thought just whisk away and never do anything with it. So I'm keeping that here. I also do, oops, hello there. I also do have a little sheet of stickers because I want to be able to make a quick title. I am going to pick up the Reset Girl new stickers. So she's got some arrows and banners and stuff. And I think that I really just want to focus on really simple decorating, really simple, just labels. And labels make me happy. Arrows make me happy. And I think I just want to keep it really simple. So I just have those in there because I used them recently and they don't really fit in my other planner bucket. So I also have here the sticky notes. So they fit perfectly in this little front pocket, and I can just grab one, boom, I can just put it here. I can put it on my calendar. It's just, they're super convenient and obviously super cute and retro. And I just kept this girl here because she's cute and I like her. Okay, so the very first thing is I've eliminated the whole dashboard thing. It became just kind of too much to keep up with, and again, like I just said, I'm gonna try to get real simple with things. This section here is basically home life and self-care. So it's going to evolve quite a bit, but I have you know, some starting points here. What I've done on the tab here is I've used a piece of really transparent white washi tape. It's the really thin strip, not the regular half-inch strip, quarter-inch strip? I don't know. I think this is a quarter-inch, the tiny ones. And I just wrote what I wanted so that when I want to change these out, I can just take the washi tape off, and then I haven't ruined the tab divider, because then I can use them for other things. So the first thing in here is my calendar. So I am using now inserts from Simple Stories. The Carpe Diem weekly vertical is kind of what I'm going with this year. I've always been a horizontal girl. I always thought that I needed more space for checklists and to-dos and things like that. But I've just found that with all that extra space, I was feeling like I needed to decorate it. And then I was spending all my time decorating, and it just wasn't a great use of my time. So I decided to try vertical. And instead of doing like a morning, afternoon, evening, I've decided on 3 categories for each day: go, do, and step. So step is my one little word for the year. So I want to be able to, I have actually an ongoing list of things I can do that get me towards certain goals, or things that I can do that are steps towards something, or walking or exercising, or steps in whatever direction I need to take. So here's where I'll either plan out things or write them down when they happen at the end of the day. I also just want to keep track of where I have to go. Do I have to go grocery shopping? Do I have an appointment? Do I have to go somewhere? And here are just things I need to do. So I just need these 3 categories to keep myself organized and in line, and making sure that I don't leave anything out. And then I will do, like I said, just a little bit. Let's not go too crazy and say, I don't want to decorate anything. I do. I want it to be pretty. I just want it to be simple and not overwhelming for myself. I have also decided to go super small on my monthly at a glance. So what I did was I designed my own calendar grid. I made the weekends a little bit more snug because typically, you know, we do a lot less on the weekends. We don't have appointments or anything. And yeah, I might have due dates for certain creative teams, but usually I need more space on the weekdays. So I'm basically just using this as a one pager for the month. The only thing that gets printed with this is the lines and the days of the week. I go in and I fill in the month and the days. And then obviously, you know, anything that needs to be filled in, I get to do that, and I have plenty of space. And then the verticals, this is just the end of December, so then I'll just take this out when the month is over. And then here I've got, you know, what am I looking for this month? So what's going to happen is when this isn't in here, it'll be, you know, a month at a glance, and then, you know, what the month should look like. And then I started to, you know, this is still like my first couple of days in, you know, actually physically working in it. I, you know, planned it and kind of organized it and all of that, and spent, you know, several days like figuring out how I wanted it and making sure before I put anything in pen. But it's just simple enough. And I did start to put in some stamping, and I think I'm probably going to only use my time stamper. I've decided that it takes a lot of time and energy to stamp, and I felt like it became a little bit more of a task versus helping me to take care of my tasks. So anyway, that's just a personal preference, but in order to add just a little bit of flair and a little bit of color, I'm just going to use the time stamper if there's something that's time related that needs to happen. Otherwise, I think I'm going to keep it pretty simple and just stick with my 2 size illustrative faith pens. I really like using the 0.65 for things like the titling up here I used, and the bigger pen, and then the really fine 0.25 tip I'm using for these, you know, words that I need to condense and keep smaller. So for me, that's working. I also am taking a tip from from Simple Stories and using the Reset Girl calendars in the little corners up here. That way I can just have a nice little glance at about what the month looks like as far as what days are, you know, what days, what days are on what days. And so then I've just pre-filled in as, you know, the month as much as I could. Now, the calendars come with 6 per month. So, you know, with 4 to 5 weeks in each month, there's no reason why I couldn't use one on every page. So that's just what I did. And I think what I'll do is take the color for each month, and like I did here, I'll just use the same color for any of the things I need to stamp. That way I don't have to think about, well, I want to do this color and this, you know, over here doesn't match this. And I get way too, I just get hung up on those things, and I'm trying to just alleviate some of those, you know, some of those extra little things that are time suckers. So keeping it simple. And then what I really enjoy is I really like having this kind of look at the month. I really enjoy that option. So it's still a work in progress as far as how I'm going to print these. I've so far printed them on a smaller grid, a larger grid, and then I have some extra inserts in here that I've printed on just plain, you know, plain nice thick paper. So I'm still kind of toying with how I'm, you know, what physical supplies I'm using. So, but for February, just made it real simple. Use some Simple Stories alphas, making it really, really easy on myself. And then here, the color changes to this really fun melon, which matches my planner, so I thought it was pretty cool. And then I can use certain things that, you know, that I like. I can still do some decorating, but I just don't feel like I have to go so overboard. Most likely, I will just stick with 2 months at a time. That's usually what I've been comfortable with. I don't need to plan things out so far in advance, but keeping 2 months allows me to at least look into the future a little bit. The next section I'm going to use is my lists. So I have a lot of ongoing lists, and I haven't included any of my older ones. I haven't transferred them over into this planner yet, but it will be where I keep my different lists, because sometimes my lists are really active and sometimes they are more of long-term listing. So I want to be able to keep them all in one spot, and that is what this section is for. So the very first one, I've used a little piece of washi and I just folded it over to make myself a tiny little tab so that I can just see it, easily. And this is my active list. So these are things there's nothing stopping me from getting these things done, more immediately. And then, it's just going to keep kind of adding on until I feel like, okay, none of these things left on my list are things that I either need to do or am inspired to do. And that's what I don't feel like oh my God, I have to do all of these things. These are desires. These are things that would be nice. But maybe I don't feel like, maybe I don't get to some of these things. And most of these things obviously are things that are super attainable, but that's kind of why I have an active list, and then I have a lot of other different lists just based on kind of what I need to make a list of. So I am not going to give any more details about this next tab, but I will just tell you that I am going to have a one little word tab. So there's going to be a section, and that is in here, but I can't show you yet. But there is going to be all this blank space here for me to work on and make sure that I'm using that word. So it might be actions that I want to do. It might be where I just can sketch a project or something. So it's just here for me to be able to have space to do that. So I've got graph paper and lined paper and blank paper, just kind of so that I can just have whatever I need back there. Here are 3 of my, so this is kind of like more home life and self-care. So those 3 tabs, and then my crafty section. So I'm keeping them all together. I have 3 separate sections here, one for my personal blog, and then one for each of my design teams. So for my personal blog, I have its own divider, and I have made a little pocket here so they can keep some specific notes about, like, I just needed to kind of keep a note about the photo resize ratios, because why aren't you going in there? Because different blogs need different size, pixels on their blog. So I needed to just make sure I was trimming them properly. But this is basically a month schedule for my blog. So this is an overall thing. So no matter what design team or no matter what project is getting posted, I just have it all here. So whatever day of the week something is scheduled, this is where it's going to go. It's just kind of like the master. And then here is where I can write down the things that I want to make sure get on the blog for the month. And this is something I've designed myself. I didn't purchase this anywhere, just kind of what I needed. The next one, I haven't labeled it yet, but it's for Ellie Studio, which is my brand new design team as of January. So I will have the items that I need to be responsible for every month, and then what my projects are, and then when they fall every single month. So for them, certain things happen on certain days, and it's always gonna be on there. But there are other things, my scheduled blog posts will probably be on different days every month. So, but I need to know what I need to do and when in the month I'm doing those things. And that's the same with Gossamer Blue, but the difference is that there's just different tasks. So with each design team, there's different responsibilities, and I need to make sure I'm checking those things off of the list. And then I also have a section here for workshops. Right now, we're getting ready to launch my very first class at Big Picture Classes, and it goes live on the 16th of January. So if you are a member, I hope to see you in class. Otherwise, there'll be, you can always get a 2-week free trial. You can sign up for a brand new membership. I mean, there is a ton of good stuff at Big Picture Classes. So, but I plan on teaching some more classes with them. So I will have a separate section here for just kind of workshop related things. I have a calendar, you know, that shows what needs to happen and when, and this was obviously made a long time ago, and I was still doing decorating and stuff, but just different things, keeping notes, and I have a little pocket back here so that I can keep extra things. But that is a look inside of my planner for 2016. It will certainly ebb and flow. It'll certainly evolve as I work through it. But if you have questions or want to ask anything about my planner or process, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer. And we will talk really soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.